Welcome to today's episode of the Untold, the show where we host amazing personality. Of course, I'm your host, Abdullah AlHendyani. I'm joined by my colleague,
Lujain AlAtheri, and today we have a very special guest, Dr. Ahmad Seleem, who is a dermatologist who also does cosmetics, surgeries, and other things. And I'm very excited to talk to him.
Yeah, honestly, me too, because as someone who had to deal with so many skin issues throughout the years, I'm very excited to sit with him, talk to him all about these stuff, right? Because I think there's a stigma about, men who shouldn't take care of their skin as much as women, which I think is false, right? Because, we have as much skin problems as females do. So I'm really excited to talk to him, see the ins and out of how to take care of your skin.
I agree. Both men and women have skin, and problems can arise no matter who the person is based on a number of factors. I also had skin problems growing up. So I'm curious to see what he has to say and if he can debunk certain misconceptions about dermatology for us and for the viewers.
Yeah. And honestly, for the viewers and for everyone back home, even those who were with me at school, I always had black eyes. So I always got, asked by teachers, who hit you? I'm like, nobody hit me. That's just the way my face works. So maybe today I'm going to finally know who hit me in terms of, my skin, tone and everything. So with that in mind, we are going to go on a very quick break. We'll come right back after this one. And we are back. Thank you for joining us again. But first, and most importantly, thank you for joining us, Dr. Ahmad Seleem, on The Untold.
Thank you, Abdullah, for having me in this amazing program. It's a great honor and pleasure to be here with you. And hopefully, inshallah, we'll talk about things that going to be interesting for the viewers, inshallah.
You're a dermatologist and you also do cosmetic surgeries and things. Was there a spark or something that led you to first become curious about this field?
Speaking about dermatology, I actually wasn't planning to become a dermatologist. It just happened by coincidence. I was, most of the time I wanted to do internal medicine and be a cardiologist, a doctor who deals with heart problems.
Okay.
So I was studying for the US exam to go and get trained there. I booked the exam and I had my plan done, everything. And I had a friend of mine who was a dermatologist. His name is Dr. Abdullah He's a bit, famous in the social media. And he used to come to my house every 2-3 weeks in the Diwaniya, we chat. And he was like, why do you want to do this? I told him I'm passionate, like it's, something big. Being able to, cure heart diseases, it's an important specialty in medicine. And he used to tell me like, okay, do you care about your social life? Do you want to have time to spend with your family? Are you the guy who prioritizes social life and family and life in general over career? And I told him, yeah, for sure. I would like to have that. This is very important for me because, as much as I like my job, I also want to spend most of the time with my family and have time for myself. And he told me you should consider doing dermatology. And at that time, I knew nothing about dermatology. So I started reading about the specialty. And I found it kind of interesting because in dermatology, you have so many specialties combined. You have medicine, which, deals with diseases. You have surgical things that involve working with your hands, and you have cosmetic procedures. So I started considering dermatology at that time, and he changed my mind, and I ditched the US exam and I applied to dermatology residency in Kuwait. So this is how it happened, joining dermatology.
So now he holds a special place in your heart.
Yeah, of course. It's honestly, it was from his influence.
Yeah.
He was the guy who guided me to going to dermatology because I knew nothing about dermatology at that time.
Yeah, and honestly, for people who don't know about dermatology, it's the treatment of skin and skin-related issues. If I'm got that correct.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, and for a lot of people, they don't realize that they take for granted that skin is our first line of defense against all of the outside world. So it's one of the most important organs of the body.
It's the biggest organ in
It's
the
the
body.
biggest organ,
It's
yeah.
the biggest, and one huge misconception the public have about dermatology is that dermatology is a specialty that deals with simple stuff. Like you hear about acne, pigment issues, skincare. Like I would call it the silly stuff, at least from a guy's point of view.
Yeah.
But in reality, it's much more than that. It's a very complex and important specialty. It deals with many serious conditions, things like cancer, autoimmune diseases, diseases that can, significantly impair your quality of life. But those diseases, not many people hear of, because what you hear in social media is what concerns the public and what the public wants to hear. Everyone is concerned about beauty. Everyone wants to hear about, especially ladies. They want to know about skincare. If I have pimples, what should I do? How to treat it? So that's why most doctors, they focus on the cosmetic aspect of dermatology in social media, because you have to give people what they want to hear.
True.
And not many speak about the serious dermatology issues.
No, I agree. A lot of people aren't aware of how vast dermatology actually is.
It's huge. It has more than 3,000 diseases in dermatology.
Wow. I
Yeah,
didn't even know it was that much.
No. It has the most number of diseases in any specialty.
Like, I grew up with a lot of different skin issues, but they weren't simple ones like just pimples or something like that. I would get a lot of cysts and things.
Yeah.
And a lot of people thought that I'm just going to get my skin fixed or something, but they didn't understand how painful some of them would be. And so I went to a dermatologist once because I had one on my back and it got very swollen and infected, and it was seriously affecting my daily life. And he got it removed, he fixed it, he told me how to care, how to do everything, and it changed a lot of things for me.
Yeah.
But a lot of people aren't aware about how many different issues one can have with their skin.
Even Lujain, the simple issues, I used to look at people with those, acne and simple stuff, and I would say, it's very silly. But in reality, it affects especially the girls. When they get pimples and it leaves a mark, sometimes they don't go to work because they feel embarrassed. So even those silly stuff, it matters a lot for some people. So that's why we shouldn't underestimate those, cosmetic issues. They
Yeah.
matter a lot especially for ladies.
I agree.
And honestly, I used to have a very severe case of acne, like all over my body. And then they prescribed me, I think it was called Accutane or
Yeah,
something like that.
Accutane.
Yeah, and the amount, how you feel in your body is filled with acne, like all over my body, my face was blinking red. It just kills you, morally. So after Accutane and dealing with that and having, a before and after kind of pictures, it felt like it's like a new life, right? It's like a new person. You feel so much happier about it.
Yeah, absolutely. It changes your life dramatically.
Yeah.
Especially if your face was covered with pimples and all of a sudden they all disappear. And even self-confidence, you feel you're back again, to where you were.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it does make a big difference, especially as you said on the face, because that's the first thing they see, and it's something you can't really hide when you go out.
Exactly. I had an interview, I think recently, a guy was telling me about the stigma of, skincare for guys and how now there's, sometimes in the public, they don't accept when guys do some cosmetic procedures. They say it's more of a girlish thing, these things are not meant to be for guys. And I told him, why do they not say that when someone goes and fixes his teeth? When your teeth are yellow or they look bad, you can fix them because not because they are bad smell or something. Some people fix them just purely because they don't look good. So why can you not fix skin issues when the skin is the first thing you look at? Before you even smile and look at your teeth, you can't hide the face and you can't hide your skin. Maybe here, you can wear long sleeve and you can hide it, but on the face, it's too obvious. So I think, it's very, very important.
Yeah.
I agree. And I think some people aren't aware that even after some serious injuries or surgeries, you can have severe scarring.
Yeah.
And without dermatologists, you can't get the skin kind of back to where it was.
Exactly,
It can leave some really painful or ugly kind of scars anywhere in the body.
Yeah,
and a lot
that's
of
true.
people want their bodies to feel and look good.
Yeah, that's true.
So
that's very true. Yeah.
Talk about something that I recently heard on the radio, actually. They were interviewing, or they had a caller from a dermatologist who says that now people, especially young people, who go out to the beaches and everything, they don't realize that, when you make a tan, you're actually causing harm to your body. And then I think there's a large misconception that tanning is just, different color for the body, but you're damaging the body, you're making it weak against sun ray, and you're making your risk of getting skin cancer
Yeah.
much higher.
Yeah, tanning is the worst thing you can ever do to your skin in terms of damage to the skin. And you won't see the damage now. You will regret it in like 20, 15 years from now. You will regret doing tanning because your skin is going to look way older. You're going to have a higher chance of getting skin cancer. Even the skin quality is ruined. So many issues, pigments, having, a red face, visible veins. So the damage that it does is tremendous, and no dermatology would recommend to anyone to do tanning without, wearing sunscreen.
Yeah.
So yeah, the damage is huge. But people, like you said, they don't realize that.
I think a lot of people here especially love tanning, going to the beach, and our sun is quite harsh and strong as well.
Yeah.
you-
I'm
yeah.
guilty of doing that, but at least I wear sunscreen.
Yeah.
So would you say that sunscreen is quite effective? Because I've been hearing a lot about wear sunblock every single day.
It's effective if you wear it properly, if you put the right amount, if you reapply every 2 hours, or whenever you jump in the water and go and come back, you have to reapply it. And what's worse than sun exposure is the tanning bed. That's this is an absolute disaster. Doing like a tanning, the tanning
the artificial tanning inside the bed.
This is like 10 times more damaging than natural sunlight.
Yeah.
That makes sense because it's kind of a more intense.
And it uses the UVA radiation, which is like the one that causes the most damage to your skin. It's very focused, dose of UVA that causes a lot of damage to the skin.
In a short amount of time as
Exactly. And you don't feel burn. So that's, it makes you want to do more because it's easy. You go in 10 minutes, you come out as if you're spent 2-3 days under the sun.
I think a lot of people don't realize that when your skin burns, it's a sign that your body is telling you your skin has had enough of it.
Yeah, for sure. It is a big sign.
But other than swimming and tanning, is it important to wear sunblock every single day and reapply it, or is it fine to just put it in the morning? Because that's something I've been hearing a lot, especially on social media.
Yeah. It's better if you want to do it properly to reapply it every 2 hours. But, of course, wearing it once a day is better than doing nothing.
Doing nothing.
So, yeah, I would, if you want to do it like once, it should be okay.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Before I would say 5 or 6 years ago, this wasn't my skin color because I had to go to the beach every summer. I would get tanning every other day. So this is kind of new to me. But then I saw a very famous article. They had a truck driver. This was in the United States, who was driving because they're on the side that's closest to the sun. They took a picture of her. And so the side that was closest to the sun has aged maybe by 20 or 30 years, as opposed to the side that was outside of the sun's, vision. And I was like, if that could happen there, unwillingly, and here we have a much stronger sun, you're sitting beneath it, and it's, it's so much harm. So that's why I got a brand new skin color.
Yeah. There are many examples of what you said. There was a picture that went viral on social media, 2 identical twins, and they did a study on them. They followed them for 20 years. I posted this on Instagram. One sister, she was wearing sunscreen, the other didn't wear. After 20 years, you can't believe that how different they look. The other one looks like she's in her 70s or 80s. She looked very aged. Her skin looks very bad. And her sister, the one who was consistent with sunscreen, she looks young. There was a huge difference. So this shows you, how damaging sun can be.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And you were talking earlier about common misconceptions in your field.
Yeah.
Would you say that there's a certain skill that people should be taught that they aren't taught in regards to dermatology?
I think in medicine in general, the most underrated skills that should be taught properly is communication skills and knowing how to talk to patients and knowing how to make the patient trust you. because you're dealing with people who are trusting you with their most valuable thing, their health, their face, their body. And this is by far, I think, the most important skill. And I've seen so many examples of doctors with average knowledge, average results, but they do very well in their private practice because they have excellent communication skills. They are socially intelligent. They know how to talk to patients. They know how to get them on their side. They know how to make the patients like them. And on the other hand, I've seen a lot of examples of doctors with excellent knowledge, amazing results, but they don't do as well because they don't have good communication skills. This is an absolute must to have in every aspect of life, but in medicine, because all the time you're one-to-one speaking to a patient, and they are coming to you, for their health, their most valuable thing. So you have to have that to be a successful doctor.
You make an excellent point.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are not aware of how much social intelligence plays a part.
It's everything. To me, it matters more than being like good with your knowledge and your skills. If you have that, you will become successful. But if you have good knowledge, but you don't know how to, interact with people properly and speak to them properly, you might not be successful.
That is a really, really an amazing point.
Yeah.
We're going to go on a short break, and then I hope we can dive into this a bit more.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you, and stay tuned for the break.
And we are back with Dr. Ahmed Seleem, and I want to ask you about something that I think is very important. Going from studying, going from the books, going from everything, and then to actually deal with people, right? To deal with them on a case by case. You're actively changing lives, right? You're making decisions that influence people's lives for, I would say, forever, right? So how do you deal with that kind of pressure, knowing that every decision you make, on a day-to-day basis is, changing someone's life to the better?
Yeah. So, for you as a physician, you have to, follow certain rules that apply in all aspects of life. You have to do what's in the patient's best interest. So the first rule in medicine is do no harm to the patient. No matter what you do, the first thing is not treat the patient, do no harm. So don't offer a procedure or a medication that is going to harm the patient, and the second rule is you try your best. This is the oath you swear when you become a doctor. You have to give, everything to try and help the patients. But there is also another important rule is that you have to protect yourself as a physician.
Yeah.
So if you feel like sometimes in certain situations, this happens to surgeons a lot, maybe not in my practice, that, for example, someone came into your clinic, they've done a procedure, they had a very bad complication from filler or anything. And they come to you and they ask for your help. But you think that if I intervene or do something, there's a big risk something can go wrong, although I want to help the patient. And if you get involved and something goes wrong, you can be in court, you can get questioned. So in those situations, you just have to protect yourself, honestly, because when you're in trouble, nobody is going to help you, And the second thing is like what I just said is do no harm to the patient. So, these are the rules in medicine, and you try your best to help them.
That makes a lot of sense. You
Yeah.
make a good point, because unfortunately that is something that can happen if you don't protect yourself.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it happens a lot.
Especially
I've seen
considering people, it depends on who the patient is. Some people have
Exactly,
different
yeah.
reactions.
Exactly. Sometimes you feel emotional, you want to help them, but you never know. This patient, because it's not someone you know for a long time or like a family member or someone you trust. Something can go wrong, and when they go, complain or the case goes to court, they can say, yeah, who did this to you? Okay, I had a complication, and then Dr. Ahmed tried to fix the complication, something bad happened, and then you end up getting involved in this, and you were just trying to help them, So you have to do what's right, and sometimes it's difficult. Sometimes it's very difficult.
Yeah, it's a matter of balancing, right? So
Yeah.
I would say it's a matter of equations.
Yeah, yeah.
You do what's best for you and for the patient
Well,
at all
exactly.
times.
Yeah, yeah. To an extent, you know.
Yeah.
If you feel safe, this is not gonna harm you, and second, not gonna harm the patient, then you should do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, I think this goes to all doctors because my mom is a doctor as well. And sometimes when she gets also cases that have, other surgeons worked on them and she finds it
Exactly, yeah.
difficult, she says, no, I'm not going to do that, because she didn't know what the other surgeon did.
Exactly.
You don't know what kind of, procedures they had. So you're going in a much, dangerous kind of position.
Yeah.
Even if you are a doctor with a lot of, expertise. So you're actively doing what's best for the patient.
Yeah, yeah, of course. And imagine something bad happens to that patient after your mom operated on him.
Yeah.
The blame will be on your mom.
Right.
At the end of the day. Although she was trying to help him and it was not her problem.
Yeah.
But she will get involved somehow and she will take the bad reputation.
Right.
So it's difficult. You try to help them, but you have to protect yourself. So those are some of the challenges that doctors face sometimes.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
For people who are maybe younger professionals in your field, was there something that you wish someone had told you at the time when you started doing this?
I wish someone has told me how to work on my, the other aspect of, medicine is, I think, like social media, how to market yourself, to work more on your communication skills, on public speech skills. Those are very important. Honestly, like we were just discussing before the interview, this should be in the curriculum.
It really should.
How to be on social media, how to be a good public speaker, how to have good communication skills, how to market yourself. So if any young doctor comes to me, I would definitely tell him work on that early in your career.
Honestly, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Honestly, that makes a lot of sense, especially in today's day and age where everything is on social media, everything's online. So without that kind of knowledge, it's hard to get yourself across or even kind of get the right exposure.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, and this reminds me of one of my cousins who is a doctor now, but when he was studying, he wanted to go into general practice, do they call it?
Yeah.
جراحة عامة.
Yeah.
And then he said that the hardest part was dealing with people. So he actually changed his field to work with bones because he said, I like to work on people while they're under anesthesia because I don't have to deal with people anymore.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
So dealing with people, I think a lot of patients or a lot of people don't realize how difficult it is for doctors, just the actual talking with people.
Of course, yeah. And you're not like for example, like working in a company or like a bank where just people are just asking questions about, how to, about their money or whatever. They're coming for their health. So you have to explain properly every single detail and, you have to give them their time because otherwise they will not feel comfortable because when patients come to you, the first thing they want to know is, can I trust this person or no?
Yeah.
If I don't feel I can trust him, I will not do surgery, operation, whatever. So this requires a lot of effort from you as a doctor. If you want to be a good and a successful doctor, that's why I just mentioned that some doctors, they don't have that and they don't end up having good reputation or they don't become successful in their career.
Considering all these challenges, how do you stay so passionate about your field?
You stay passionate because, if you have the intention to become like one of the top physicians, one of the best, if you don't settle for being average, you have to be passionate. You have no other choice. You have no other choice. You have to be consistent. You have to keep working hard. It varies from one person to another. Some people just want to have like a good life, decent income, spend time with your family. But if you want to be like one of the top big names, you have no other choice. You don't need something to push you. You have to. You have no other choice.
You have to push yourself.
Yeah, you have to push yourself, Yeah.
And speaking of pushing yourself, if you were somehow to go back to, younger Dr. Ahmed, telling him things to look out for, telling him things to, take care of, what would you say? What would you tell him?
I think if I look back, I will always tell myself, don't underestimate your capabilities and yourself, because I was guilty of doing that when I was young. I thought there are so many things I saw other people doing, I thought I couldn't do them. But then you realize these people, they have nothing special more than you. You have, sometimes you're more qualified than them. But when you're young, you don't have this mindset. Sometimes you realize later. Otherwise, I would have done many things differently. So this is, to me, like, don't underestimate yourself. You are capable of whatever other people did, and even more. You can do better than them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Don't underestimate yourself. Keep pushing yourself.
Yeah, for
You have
sure.
to keep going for you, and that's how you get to where you are.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
mashallah, you have come a long way since you started, I think. You should be proud of that, by the way.
Alhamdulillah.
No, definitely be proud. Take the moment.
Inshallah, I will, yeah.
Huh. And you also mentioned that one of the reasons is that you started this was because your old mentor or doctor friend told you about the work-life balance.
Yeah.
How is that going for you now, the work-life balance?
Now, honestly, it's not going very well because I'm still, consider myself at the beginning of my career. And at that stage, you have to work very, very hard. Like, you have to give it all. So thank God I'm not married. I'm single. Otherwise, it would have been difficult to manage between, wife, kids, and my life now, because I work in 2 jobs, in the government and private. So it would have been very difficult. But yeah, I mean, hopefully you work hard now to make it easier in the future, inshallah.
Inshallah. So is there a secret to your methods, or are you just going day by day, taking it, whatever issue comes first? Or do you have routine? Do you have set clear procedures and everything?
You have to plan things properly. You have to have an ultimate goal.
Yeah.
And, you have to have a plan. If you don't have a plan, you're not going to be consistent. So you have to have like a 5 years ahead goal. I want, for example, to open my private practice, my own clinic, my own center. And, then you divide it into like stages, and you try to put a time frame and stick to it. You try your best to do that. It doesn't work all the time, but you have to do it like that.
No, you definitely have to try.
Yeah.
I personally really suck at planning far ahead. I try my best, but I'm really bad at it.
Yeah, me too. But I tried to read some books that help with that. And, you have to have time management. You have to do, because if you don't have a written plan and a time frame, it's difficult to stick to your plan. If you just say, I want to do this in a year or 2 years, you will not do it. You have to say, I will do this like exactly next November, or you have to have a deadline and put a plan and stick to it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you take everything into account, right? You're studying, the road, the journey, and your position now, the responsibilities and everything. What would you say is the most difficult part, in all of this, in all of your journey so far?
The most difficult part is, being consistent.
Oh.
Yeah, you need to be consistent and patient, because with medicine, it's a long journey. It's a very, very long journey. And by the time you finish and you start working in private practice, you've done at least 12 years of studying.
MashaAllah.
And then you have another task, which is as important, is marketing yourself, getting your name out there. And this requires so much effort. This is actually, as difficult as studying itself. Being on social media, preparing content, so many things you have to do to be known. So you have to be patient, you have to be consistent, you have to be passionate also. You have to love what you do.
Yeah, I think a lot of people underestimate just how much work goes into the social media side, as well as obviously your actual practice.
Yeah, it's a lot.
But Dr. Ahmed, I want to thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, I want to thank you guys for having me here. Yani, I enjoyed this conversation so
did
much.
I.
It was a great pleasure and honor. Thank you for having me in this amazing show.
No, thank you so much. And honestly, it was great to see the other side of not just the medicine, but the other work that goes into doing everything that you do.
Yeah, it's true.
So again, be proud of yourself, because you have come a long way, and inshallah, you'll go further.
Inshallah, thank you.
And also, I would say that the hardest part of coming on the Untold isn't finished yet, because all of our doctor guests are going to be bombarded with so many questions as soon as we go off camera. So I do feel, I do want to encourage you to go there.
Feel free anytime. Man. No restrictions. Anything, whenever you want. You're welcome.
Thank you. You have been very kind, very gracious to be with us today. So thank you again.
Thank you so much, Abdullah.
And thank you, dear viewers, for sitting with us. We are going to go on a very quick break. We'll come right back after this one. That's it from us, the team of The Untold. Another great episode, I would say.
It was. And I'm sorry I interrupted you there before the guest left, but I think that was a question that would be very, really interesting for the people at home specifically.
Yeah, honestly, because but the thing that amazed me is when he said that the skin was also the biggest organ in the body, because I think when you get those trick questions, people always go to the heart or the kidney or something. So I think a lot of people don't realize the importance of skin. All the diseases you see going around in the air, your skin is basically the first line of defense that's, blocking them off. So great episode.
I agree. A lot of people think it's only superficial, like it's only about how you look, but it's so much deeper than that, more than skin deep, I guess you would say. So I'm also glad he got to remove common misconceptions, like the fish in the milk thing. I didn't know about that, but that was a good thing to know, and that maybe don't do that or don't worry about that so much.
Yeah. So I think the takeaway from this episode is don't believe every myth you hear about, skin, about whatever organ it is. Take everything you have from the doctors themselves. And with that in mind, that's the end of today's episode of The Untold. But until the next one, goodbye for now.
Thank you and goodbye.